Hi guys, welcome and who dat? I'm Joe, and usually I do a review and reaction of the games. We had a game this weekend. It was our beloved Bless You Boys in black and gold, the New Orleans Saints, traveling to Carolina to take on our dreaded evil NFC South foe, the Carolina Panthers. And the Panthers were supposed to be the worst team in the league. They were a 7-point underdog at home, and the Saints go in there and outgain them, rush the ball at will, win the turnover battle, win the time of possession battle, and still lose the game. Final score 23 to 22. And I'm not breaking this game down. I think it's like talking about a piece of junk car in the front yard that's on, cement blocks and hasn't moved. And, well, it's 7 games in a row now. The Saints are awful. Are we the worst team in the league? We're one of them. You put us against any other team in this league, and I would probably pick the other team to win. That's Snickers. And she's dressed just like I am. Look at those beautiful colors. I love my Snickers. I love this girl. She's a very beautiful, sweetheart girl, always wearing the Saints colors. And I bleed black and gold, of course. We're all part of the Who Dat family, and we want nothing but the best for our football team. So that's why I am done covering the Saints as far as review and reaction to the games. I'm done writing the stats down. I'm not going to do that for the rest of this season unless we miraculously pull off some 4 or 5 game winning streak. As you know, if we win 5 games in a row, then we'll be 7-7. Wow. Yeah, we're 2-7. We lost to the worst team in the league, who's now 2-7. If the draft were today, we'd have the third overall pick. Carolina would be picking fourth. So who's the worst team in the league? Well, the Saints are one of them. And like I said, we have to win 5, 6 in a row just to become relevant again. I'm not going to be breaking these games down stat by stat. I'll give you a preview and I'll give you a wrap up maybe, but I'm not going to put too much effort into it. I'm going to put more effort into the future for this team. So nothing to talk about with this game. We outgain them. We run for 150 plus yards. We win the turnover battle. We win the time of possession battle, and we manage to lose with the opportunity to put the game away with several drives in the fourth quarter. The Saints shoot themselves in the foot by having penalty upon penalty at the worst time. You're trying to ice the game and you're finding yourself in 1st and 29 or 1st and 20, whatever. And then you have Dennis Allen making the worst calls ever in his head coaching career, I'm assuming, punting the ball on the other side of the 50 with a 4th and 1 when your team is this bad, showing no confidence, just cowardly. And you got to figure, how does a team do this? How does a team who's favored to win by so much, who already beat the Panthers by 37 points earlier in the season, how does a team like that outgame the Panthers by 150 yards, rush for over 150 yards, win the turnover battle, win the time of possession battle, and actually feel like you have something to play for when the Panthers were in obvious sell mode? How do you lose that game? By having an awful coach. And we all knew that Dennis Allen was bad. And yeah, that was the icing on top of the big turd cake. So the Saints season over, finished, done. Head coach Dennis Allen, as a head coach for this team, over, finished, and done. It's over with. I know a lot of people were celebrating. I actually had an awful day that day. I was experiencing other stuff going on, and I knew when I woke up and heard that Dennis Allen was fired that it should be a great day. And of course, I'm not one to celebrate somebody being unemployed, and I don't want to wish bad things on a nice guy, but this is football talk here. Man had to go, and he's gone. Now, we've got Darren Rizzi, the special teams coach, as our new interim head coach. I think he's a spunky kind of guy, and I think he can motivate some people. I also like his honesty. So, this is something I noticed. When you hire a head coach and they are a coordinator, and they take the duty of not only being head coach, but also being offensive coordinator or defensive coordinator and offensive play caller or defensive play caller, then there's like a bias there where, like, Sean Payton had Pete Carmichael as his offensive coordinator when he was our head coach, and Sean Payton was the offensive coordinator. We all knew that. Pete Carmichael was just the yes man. And Pete Carmichael was never going to lose his job, and Sean Payton was never going to fire himself as offensive coordinator. So as long as you had Sean Payton as head coach, it didn't matter how badly the offense would struggle. We were never going to see a change unless it came from way up top. I'm talking about the head coach. Oh, he could fire defensive coordinators left and right, no problem. But would he make those changes on offense? I mean, if he knew he had to, if something was really wrong with his staff, his hand chosen staff, then he could make a little move here and there. But honestly, you see what I'm saying? Would Dennis Allen ever have made changes to his defensive staff, to the garbage defense we've been watching this year? I don't know. But it got me thinking that kind of would rather have a head coach who isn't involved in offense or defense. The perfect scenario is, our Dan Campbell, tight end coach Dan Campbell, who's now the head coach of the Lions. And yeah, he may have something to do with the offense, being a former position coach on the offensive side, but he's not their coordinator. He's not their play caller. So I think that puts him in a better position to do something, if something has to happen. Same thing with a special teams coach. You put a special teams coach at head coach, and then you don't have to worry about a bias towards the offense or the defense coaching staff and everything else. You see what I'm saying? So I hope that when the Saints do hire a new head coach, if they, move on from Darren Rizzi, we're going to give Darren Rizzi the rest of the season. Hey, if the Saints turn things around, you got to give Rizzi his props. And I think he would be an ideal kind of guy to have as head coach. Because if the offense is performing poorly, he's not going to have any qualms about it. He's going to make the changes necessary. I like that. I like that idea. I also like the idea of getting an offensive minded head coach if we were to go a former coordinator route. I just think that for a head coach to be a really good head coach, and you have a really good coordinator, it's got to be two different people. I don't like the idea of having yes men running around all over you, around you, and you're gonna be biased towards them, and you might be a little. What are you doing? My dog's sniffing around like he's looking for something. And Snicker Girl, who was just here, is loving on my dog now. She's such a lovey-dovey. So anyway, I don't know where I'm going with this, other than to say it's a great day. I had a bad day that day. I actually sympathize with Alan being a man and losing his job. But yeah, he didn't have the right job. He had a job he wasn't qualified for, so he had to lose it. I'm not worried about the man bouncing back. I'm sure he's a millionaire and he'll bounce back just fine. I'm sure his wife's not going to leave him or whatever. I'm sure he'll be, as a man, just fine. And he'll land on his feet as a defensive coordinator where he should be, and maybe he'll still have success. So that's all I got to say about it. Everybody else has covered this situation. People are now talking about potential head coach hires, and there I've given you my view on the matter. I'm kind of hoping to go and get somebody who's going to be a head coach and who's going to make the offense and the defense, you know, culpable, force them, to be responsible, do something, make changes when it has to happen. All right. Subscribe to Rosenfield 10 because I will continue to cover the Saints emphatically. And I'm going to talk about the future of this football team. And I think it's things we really need to focus on right now. These games that are being played on the weekend are just, yeah, okay, whatever. Man, what if the Saints blow Atlanta out next week? Is that going to change your opinion about this team as a whole? It'll show that they're capable of doing something. It If we blow Atlanta out, it might tell a lot of people Dennis Allen was the one holding us back this whole time. Because I hear a lot of people saying we actually have a pretty good roster. I hear some people saying that after this game. Well, if you just watch the Saints play, you know they got a good roster. They just couldn't win the game in the end. They just had a lack of detail, lack of focus, lack of attention in the spots where you're going to win the game and you need to win it and you get penalties and stupid stuff, and the quarterback play was awful. Derek Carr comes back from an injury. That's another thing I'm going to say before I end this video. I understand these coaches and general managers have to pay lip service, gaslight. They have to lie. They all have to lie because they have to cover their butts and they don't want to piss anybody off. And you just keep saying the same thing over and over. Oh, no, we're doing a good job. We're going to keep chopping wood, yada, yada, yada. Look beyond the results, all that junk. I understand when head coaches, general managers, have to fib a little bit until you actually do what you have to do. Thank goodness Gail Benson talked to the players, figured out what was wrong with this team. Then Gail Benson made Mickey Loomis fire Dennis Allen. And Mickey Loomis came out and said, Dennis Allen's a great coach. I don't know what the hell's going on here, but we had to let him go. Kind of tweet. When Gail Benson's tweet was more like, this is something I had to do. Seems to me like as though Mickey Loomis didn't really want to do it. It doesn't give me a lot of hope for the future. But thank goodness Gail Benson did what she did. And now we're at a spot where I don't know if we're going to see the necessary changes because I think it's more than just Dennis Allen. It's the way we draft, it's the way we evaluate talent, it's the way we go about strength and conditioning. It's definitely the way the head coach has fashioned this team as far as scheduling, as far as practice times, as far as having fun with the team. I don't know. I think that Dennis Allen was a failure on multiple levels as a head coach. And I think Darren Rizzi will be more of a leader of men. So subscribe to my channel. My next video is going to be about the top 10 prospects in this upcoming draft. We're going to look at them because the Saints are going to have a top 10 pick. And we've already done a video on this channel talking about the quarterbacks in this draft. So you let me know what you think in the comments below. Subscribe, like, share. Subscribing's free. And until the next one, I'll talk to you later. Who dat?